Elections are nothing more than man-made systems put in place for people to select their leaders. However, these man-made systems are prone to be corrupted, and that is something that happens all around the globe. The element of corruption has become part of modern-day elections, and people and strategies are in place to carry out this corruption, as disappointing as it might sound. Let us dive further into this and shed light on the case of Cambridge Analytica. Elections and rigging. Election fraud, also known as election manipulation, voter fraud, or vote rigging, is the illegal meddling in an election, either to increase the vote share of a candidate who is supported, to decrease the vote share of a rival candidate, or to do both. Vote stealing arrangements are the first and easiest way to rig an election. Vote theft in American elections has a long and illustrious history. Voter registration rules weren't passed in most states until the middle of the 19th century, and even then, they didn't prevent fraud at the polls. Voting at cemeteries was a common strategy used by the political machinery in large cities. To vote in the names of deceased individuals who were still listed on the rolls, they would hire a party of people to travel from precinct to precinct. This was relatively simple in the days before computer technology would update voter records. There are several other ways to engage in election fraud. Examples include voter intimidation, vote buying, misinformation, confusing and misleading ballots, ballot stuffing, incorrect vote tallying, ballot destruction, voting machine manipulation, and voter impersonation. Before Election Day, the two main political parties and the leading candidates lawyer up. Both parties have crews prepared to enter the courtroom at the first sign that something is amiss. Another way elections are rigged is by creating a system that works entirely in favor of a single candidate or a candidate belonging to the same party. Candidates or political parties could try and change how electors are awarded. A few years ago, someone suggested that California award electors to candidates based on who won the congressional district instead of who won the state. It would be a good idea if it were applied nationally. But if it were only done in California, it would benefit Republicans over Democrats since they would pick off some electoral votes in that huge state and deny Democrats a winner-take-all outcome. The Constitution does not, however, apply to nomination contests. Political parties have the sole authority over them and have seen significant modifications. The ability to rig a season for a candidate is constrained since state-run primaries have increasingly dominated the nomination process in recent years. Giving a candidate a benefit or disadvantage in a system component unconnected to the actual elections is the last method of rigging the system. WikiLeaks revealed leaked emails from the Democratic National Committee just before the Democratic Convention showing that party officials disliked Bernie and were considering methods to defeat him. However, there was no proof that party leaders took any actions based on their preferences that would have impacted the contest for delegates. One can only speculate what RNC employees were saying about Donald Trump when he rocked the party's establishment by winning primary after primary. Few debates and lousy debate schedules were the closest the Democrats got to rigging the election. Although it was not in Bernie Sanders' favor, this seems to stop short of rigging the election. Cambridge Analytica. Cambridge Analytica provides services to organizations and political parties wishing to influence audience behavior. It promises to analyze enormous volumes of consumer data and combine that with behavioral science to pinpoint individuals that businesses can sell. It gathers information from various sources, including its polls and social networking sites like Facebook. The company, which has its headquarters in London, was established in 2013 as a branch of another organization named SEL Group, which provides comparable services globally. It does not provide a list of its corporate clients. Still, it states on its website that they include a daily newspaper that wants to learn more about its readers, a women's apparel company looking to learn more about its customers, and a U.S. car insurer looking to promote itself. According to a piece by The Times last year, Cambridge Analytica CEO Alexander Nix traveled to additional clients to promote his services after Trump won the presidency in 2016, aided in part by the company. The business bragged that it could create psychological profiles of customers and voters, which it utilized as a secret sauce to influence people more successfully than it could with conventional advertising. However, rival consultants and campaign aides voiced skepticism over the company's assertions. The campaign used voter data from a Republican National Committee operation instead of Cambridge Analytica's data, according to Brad Parscale, who oversaw Trump's digital efforts in 2016. Speaking of, the 2016 elections had Cambridge Analytica playing a major part. Let us unfold its role. 2016 elections and Cambridge Analytica. Multiple state attorney generals are launching investigations in the U.S. into the company's misuse of 50 million Facebook users' data. The company has been suspended from Facebook in the wake of a New York Times report revealing that it violated Facebook's terms of service for using personal data. Following a series of undercover sting reports capturing CEO Alexander Nix making outlandish claims about the company's bribing politicians or entrapping them by sending some girls to the candidate's house, Cambridge Analytica's board has suspended Nix from the company. No, Cambridge Analytica was unable to capture every voter's personality accurately. However, this is how Nix presented the company's strategy. He said Cambridge Analytica collaborated with scientists to create a 120-question survey that aims to analyze personality, and hundreds of thousands of individuals in America have been given access to this. The organization made numerous inquiries concerning personality and conduct. It then evaluated participants' levels of agreeableness, openness, and extroversion, three of the big five personality qualities. Those results were mixed with polls, voter records, and online activity to create personality models for voters. Nick said Cambridge Analytica may not have talked to you, but if I talk to enough people who look like you in terms of what data they have, I'd be able to quantify your personality based on the discussion had with other people. Facebook's policies at the time permitted the app to gather data on all users, but more significantly, data on their friends. These details included their education level, where they lived, the organizations and pages they liked, their marital status, and their place of employment. Before assisting Trump's campaign, the firm, which the New York Times claimed was then staffed primarily by British employees, supported Republican Senator Ted Cruz. According to its marketing materials, Cambridge Analytica offers targeted advertising, consumer research, and other data-related services to corporate and political clients. During the early primaries, the Cruz team separated people into 6 distinct psychological profiles by fully embracing big data and political science theory. Even though the calls, emails, and flyers were about the same Cruz positions on the same issues, the campaign used different messaging to reach out to voters it classified as timid traditionalists than it did to people it considered to be temperamental. As Cruz won the Iowa caucuses, the psychological profiling attracted much media attention, mainly after Nix openly took credit for the victory in many media appearances. But as time passed, the Cruz team grew skeptical of the strategy. Even though Cambridge Analytica personnel continued to be associated with Cruz's campaign after the South Carolina primary, it eventually stopped trying to profile voters psychologically. While the Trump campaign had no data operation, the Cruz team had embraced data science. It was eager to try political science hypotheses that had never been tested at the presidential level. Trump told the AP shortly after clinching the Republican nomination that he thought statistics were overrated in politics. Nevertheless, Cambridge Analytica employees worked closely with Trump digital strategist Brad Parscale in his San Antonio office and were crucial to the campaign's online activities. We did all the research, all the data, all the analytics, all the targeting. We ran all the digital campaign, the television campaign, and our data informed all the strategy, Nix unwittingly told Britain's Channel 4 in their undercover sting. People connected to the Cruz and Trump campaigns claimed they never used the Facebook data that Cambridge Analytica illegally obtained. Both initiatives eventually damaged the reputation of the business and its CEO. Nix regularly credited Cruz and Trump for their victories, defying accepted conventions for behind-the-scenes campaign managers. Conclusion. So the next time you think an election is carried out fairly, it is probably executed so well behind the scenes that you're eventually made to believe it's free of errors.